This is so fun. All right. Okay, I'm still trying to get through the stash of fabric that I have. And this blue organza I've actually had for years. I bought it secondhand, so it was really inexpensive. But now it's just been sitting in a bag in the corner for way too long, you know? So I was like, let me tackle this. So I did measure it out, but I measured it wrong because I think you're supposed to do like nose to like end of your arm is roughly a yard, and instead I did full wingspan because I remembered wrong. So I ended up having double what I thought I did. So I could have made something bigger or something that used more fabric, but it's okay. I wanted to make something simple because I haven't worked with organza before, and so that's what I did. When I think of organza, I think of Selkie. So I went to their website and then I found like the simplest thing I could find, basically, which was this puffy dress that was just fitted at the upper bust and then just flowed out. And I figured, you know, maybe I can make that. So I did, and I think it came out really cute and pretty. And my husband hates it. I think it's the dress he hates the most that I've made so far, but I think it's really cute and pretty. And it wasn't that hard to make, which is by design. I wanted something easy to make. And you only need like upper bust measurement and like the length you want. So I think this one's pretty simple and fun to make, kind of. I did have to buy a blue lining, a blue cotton lining, and a matching blue ribbon because I just didn't have anything that matched. And so I'm gonna say that's fine because it was in service of using up the blue organza that I already had, you know? So this still counts as stash busting. I bought it only to use what I had. That's my story, I'm sticking to it. So yeah, on to the video. Okay, so here's the trash bag I mentioned with the blue organza. It's really pretty. I mean, it doesn't feel the best because it is a poly organza, but it is very pretty. I did look in my stash to see if I had anything I could use for a lining or any matching ribbon or anything. I didn't. I mean, I would have settled for a non-cotton option even though I wanted cotton, but I just didn't have anything. Here's my artistic rendering of what I'm making. It's basically just layers of gathered organza over a matching lining with some straps and bows. And here's just a simple breakdown of what I ended up doing. I used my upper bust measurement to make a half circle for the lining and triple that same measurement for the organza pieces, which I had 3 of. And then I had a zipper that ended up finding a matching one. And I used ribbon to cover up the top of the gathered portion and for straps and bows. So 4 for the bows and 2 for the straps and then 1 long piece to cover the gathered portion. And I just measured and checked as I went for those ribbon pieces. All right, I think I'm gonna iron it real fast, probably iron it in half. I think that's where I'm gonna cut it. All right, this is gonna take a while. So I bought this fabric from Joann's without taking a swatch of the organza because I was too lazy to take it. But it was, I think I got it for like $10, a couple of yards for $10, and I think it matches fine. I don't think I need 2 yards, but that's how much I got just in case. But I mean, it's close enough, you know? It's gonna be under layers. So yeah, now I'm gonna figure out how to cut out the lining. I'm thinking maybe if I could do a half circle or a third circle or a quarter circle, something like that. So it's kind of A-line-esque. So it's A-line-esque already, you know? So let's see what I can do here. I measured my upper bust and that was about 35 inches. And then I decided to take the most unflattering shot of myself possible in order to find the length I wanted, which ended up being about 26 inches, accounting for a small hem. For reference, I'm 5'8" and I have a longish torso. So I just folded this lengthwise, just once over, and I'm just gonna cut out a half circle, because I think I want to make sure that it's like nice and flowy. I just did 35 plus 2 inches, a couple inches in case I do end up putting a zip in the back, so I want some allowance back there. So it's like 37 divided by pi ends up being like roughly 11 3/4 for the radius here. So that's what I'm gonna cut out. Alright, so looks pretty good. I mean, it's more extra than I expected. But that's okay. I like the shape, so that's good. And the length looks pretty good. So clearly, like, maybe I shouldn't have added the extra 2 inches. Math isn't mathing. Or it's just stretches because it's cutting the bias. That might be also part of the reason. But anyway, so that's good for this. I ironed this in half, so it'd give me like a guideline here. So this is halfway. Excuse my husband in the background. This is his game night with his friends. So if I measure the halfway mark for this width is 29 inches, which I think is going to be a little too long for what I need. I think. So I am just going to do 27 inches. So that should still be an inch longer than the lining, theoretically. I could just cut one half and see how it goes and do the other, but I really don't want to. So what I'm going to do instead is just, hope for the best and just cut it all at once. So I'm going to use, this is 2 inches across, so this will get me exactly 27 inches. So I'm going to cut here, and then I'll have a 4-inch strip left, which hopefully I can use to do like a couple of bow details that are on the inspo. So we'll see. So yeah, I'm just going to use the rotary cutter and do it here. Because it's a straight cut, I can do it here on the mat. I did the half circle on the ground because there just wasn't enough room on this table. One day I'll have a giant table. Alright, this is going to take a while. This is how much I've done. That's how much is left. So I'm going to put it in podcast and just get through this. Alright, so here it is. It's done. There's a bunch of now 4-inch wide pieces because it's folded in half. And I did it like this so that I'm planning on focus. There we go. So I'm planning on the selvage being the bottom so it doesn't fray. I do have to go through and cut off the little hairs. I might as well do that now too, I guess. Ugh, it already took so long. But I'm so glad that once again when this mat, the cutting mat and the rotary cutter come in handy, they really come in handy, I'm really glad I have them. Otherwise, like, this would take me forever and it'd be even more uneven. Which, by the way, this is definitely not cut perfectly because first, like, the ironing in half wasn't perfect because it's just like a floopy fabric. It wants to, like, it just, you know, it wants to go everywhere. And it's not, like, stable. And then I'm, like, cutting it on top of that, so there was definitely, like, it's not perfect, but that's okay. I'm hoping it'll come out in the wash, you know, aka the sewing. So I think I do need to trim up the edges. Like, each side is not, the ends of the fabric aren't even, and the little hairy selvage is over there, so I better do that. Alright, so it's been a couple days, like Shark Week hit, so now I think what I'm gonna do, I definitely should have cut as much as I did in half, because I measured wrong. I realized I was supposed to measure like this, you know, from here to here, but for some reason I did like my full wingspan, if I had wings, so that wasn't the right plan. So it's exactly double what I thought it was. Basically, I thought it was 5, it's 10. So I could have cut these, like, half of it in whole pieces, and it would have been easier to use for something else. But here we are. I'll figure out what to do with it, you know. So now I think what I'm going to do is cut 3 times what I need for gathering, around that 35 inches. I'll probably just do like 3 yards for each piece, I think. So that's the plan. And what I'll do is I'll cut 1 and do the hem at the bottom and gather it up and just see how it looks and see if I need to do a longer strip or do a shorter one. So first up, cut. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is just fold the selvage in once. I think that should do it. I mean, there are holes in the selvage, so I don't know. I might have to do it twice, but I don't want to cut it off completely because, like, it's not going to fray like this, you know? However, I'll think about it. It might be fine. Just fold it once. We'll see. I think it looks pretty good. So I think like 3 times is the right amount. So that's good. In terms of like the hem, I think it's fine as is, honestly. I don't think I have to turn it in again. But just to be sure, I am going to work on the lining next, I think. Okay, I was going to work on the lining first, but I think instead I'm just going to do 2 more layers. So 2 more 3-yard chunks and do the same thing I just did. Hem the bottom and gather the top. All right, I think I'm gonna go through and cut off anything that's stretched out from hanging for the circle skirt or half circle skirt. Is it a half? I think it's a half circle skirt. And so cut that off, hem it, just do a turned in small hem, and maybe do a stay stitch at the top so it doesn't keep stretching. It actually doesn't seem to have stretched at all, so I don't think I have to trim it, so that's good. So I'm just gonna go in, do a stay stitch up here to keep it from like stretching, and then I'm gonna do probably like just a quick like rolled hem maybe. Okay, it's about here, I think. So, just gonna go for it, I guess. Let me mark it. There's the mark I made, and I'm just gonna follow the selvage here to make a line all the way down so I know where the zip has to go. Okay, I marked it 2.5 inches over the whole way on both sides, and I found the zipper. So that's like pretty darn close. So I'm like, okay, I have a zip for it. Now I think I'm not gonna use like the whole length of this because it's pretty long. I don't think I need more than like maybe 6 inches or something at the top. I'm just gonna iron because I've been avoiding it. So I have it clipped. I was gonna do the 3 layers all at once, but I think it might shift around. Like, so I'm just gonna sew on this one and see how it goes. And hopefully I'll be able to see the pencil line for the zipper. Let's see how this goes. I tried to see the line I drew on the lining through all these layers of organza. You can kind of see it. But anyway, so I just like pinned roughly there. I'm only gonna go down like, I think like 6 inches should be enough. Or maybe 6.5 maybe. But it doesn't have to go like all the way down. This is like too much. I don't need that much to get into it. So hopefully this works out. I haven't sewn it. It's like I tried to flatten it out and get it in the right spot for all the layers, but we'll see what happens. and zipped it up in the front, and I think it looks fine, and I think it's really puffy. Super puffy. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna have to sew at the bottom of this now. I'm just gonna do each layer separately. Yeah, starting with the lining. Alright, so the zip's in, and I sewed up each of the, layers separately. I still have to trim the excess and figure out how I want to finish it. I might just do a zigzag, or maybe I'll try something else. I could have done French seams, but honestly it was so difficult to just figure out what was going on while I was trying to sew up the separate layers, and it doesn't look the best here. And I think part of it is because the lining isn't the same shape, so everything else is a rectangle gathered, and the lining is like that half circle. So maybe it would have been better to do it as a gathered rectangle too. I just didn't want to add even more bulk because it's already pretty bulky now, but well, it is what it is. And maybe at the end I'll add a bow or something. At least the zip works, you know? And I gotta figure out what to do here. So maybe like a giant bow, I don't know. But I think before I work on that, I'm just gonna work on doing the binding up here. They use like a velvet ribbon, I think, but I looked at it and I just didn't want to buy another thing. So I'm gonna try to use, I think, just the lining fabric. Okay, it's definitely not perfect. It's kind of thick. This is definitely a giant wrinkle. So I'm trying to just, I don't know. Let's see how this looks. Okay, so I ended up putting this away because it's really hard to clip on here, and it's getting kind of thick, which isn't my favorite thing. But also I think maybe I shouldn't have sewn it into a tube first, because like the inside is hard to get this. Anyway, it's a little finicky. We were out yesterday, so I did go and buy this ribbon. I couldn't find anything in velvet like they used, but this is the closest match I could find. So I'm thinking maybe let me see if this works. It was like $5 with a coupon. So yeah, let me see how this matches. Maybe it's close. I'm thinking of just going with it and maybe have like, it's a tone on tone still. And it's just so much easier. I might just use this. Let's do 40 inches. I think it looks okay. It definitely needs straps, so that's good. I figured I can just see where these are. So I just like measured in front of the mirror how long the strap is where I want it. And it's about 18 inches if I were to attach at the bottom. And I like the width of these straps. This is like a 1/4 inch. Also, by the way, this ribbon is 1.5 inches wide. So that means it's like 3/4 inches on each side is what shows. Yeah. And so I think for the straps, what I'm going to end up doing is just folding this into quarters and then sewing it. It's not going to be like as thin as like my bra strap, but I think it's fine. Right now I'm glad I got this because it was even sewing. Yeah, I'm just glad because it's less bulk and it was easier to do. And so yeah, I think I already cut the ribbons. So here we are. I cut them to be 19 inches long so that they're 1 inch longer than I need. And I figured I can trim them after the fact to what I need and maybe zigzag the edges just so I don't add more bulk to like the top where I'm going to sew it down anyway. And I think also while I have this on, I'm going to put clips where I want them to attach. I think I'm just going to go again where the bra strap is. I clipped up the markers here. I zigzagged the ends because I didn't want to add more bulk by folding it in. Alright, so it didn't catch in some places, so I'm just going to go through and do a quick hand sew in those spots. I think I'm just going to add a hook because the zip doesn't go all the way up and it's sliding down, so I'm hoping the hook will help. Okay, done with the laundry. Okay, so I have to work on the layers. Also, excuse my voice, my throat doesn't feel great. So yeah. So I'm gonna start with the innermost one, the innermost organza one, because I figure if I mess up, it won't show as much, hopefully. So I think what I'm gonna try to do is, can you see this? I think what I'm gonna try to do is trim it. Jeez, can you focus, please? Okay, I'm gonna try to trim it. I mean, they're all uneven because, you know, I just did it. And then maybe I can tuck in both sides and do like, I don't know what the seam is called. It's like a faux French seam, if I can do that. I thought about French seams when I was doing it, but it was so hard to figure out what to sew together in like all of this stuff that I was like, I just sewed it. So yeah, let me try trimming it and doing that. Right, I mean, it looks pretty good, I think. So let me just do the other 2 layers too. Then I apparently very silently made bows, probably because my throat wasn't feeling well. So it looks like I did 2 loops of ribbon, so 7 inches long. So it was 4 layers, 7 inches long. So I guess that's about 28 inches for each bow, roughly. And I made 4 of them for the front where the straps met and the back where the straps met. After sewing the bows on, I used a lighter to melt the ends of the ribbon because it's poly so that it wouldn't fray. Probably should have done this before I sewed them onto the dress, but I didn't. And with that, the dress was done. You can't tell me nothing. This is so fun. Is it even?
Mm-hmm.
How's that?
Please don't.
You want me to see in public looking at this? It's on public. Alright, so I filmed an outro, but it was terrible, so I'm just gonna do a quick voiceover here. I thought this turned out so cute and just fun and silly. My husband did not agree. He didn't want me to leave the house in it. But you know what? I still really liked it. And it's just, I don't know, it's just like really fun and silly. That's the best way I can describe it. And I would recommend because it wasn't that difficult to make and didn't take too long. And I think it's a good beginner project for organza. And yeah, thanks for watching.